This is a really fun video for me because I was actually born and raised in San Antonio and I still frequent the city. In fact, my family still lives in San Antonio. I've actually lived and worked in Austin though for nearly 14 years now and love the city. Now, I find that San Antonio and Austin are completely different cities and there's really no bad choice. In fact, I love both of them, but in very different ways. And I'm going to break that down for you in this video today. I find that between the two cities, it's really just a matter of what you're looking for in terms of lifestyle and personal enjoyment. So in this video, I'm going to break down the key differences between both Austin and San Antonio from, of course, a factual standpoint, as well as my personal observations from living in both cities for so many years. Now, before we dive into some of the topics such as lifestyle and economics, let's talk size and population to give you a better foundation of how the two cities compare. We'll start with Austin. Austin is actually the state capital of Texas, and as of 2022, we were pushing close to 1 million people, making it the fourth largest city in Texas. It's also important to note that Austin, being the fourth largest city in Texas, is also smaller than San Antonio, and I'll break that down a little bit further. San Antonio's population is actually close to 1.5 million people at the same time, which makes it the second largest city in the state of Texas, just behind Houston, which is our largest city. The key difference to point out here is that San Antonio is a much more spread out city than Austin in terms of land mass, and that's really important for a few reasons, which I'll discuss. To put things into perspective, Austin's land mass is roughly 325 square miles, and San Antonio's is 465 square miles. And the reason this is so important is because in addition to Austin's rapid population growth, you also have to consider the greater degree of density which Austin has. And that has led to Austin's infamous traffic that people love to hate in Austin. And it's definitely something that is not enjoyable when you live in Austin. If you're coming from a major city like Los Angeles, though, Austin's traffic doesn't even come close, so no worries there, at least right now. If you're comparing it to a city like San Antonio, though, which is much more spread out, again, has larger land mass and better highway infrastructure, you're going to find, though, that it's typically much more enjoyable driving in a city like San Antonio. So on that note, San Antonio definitely takes the win. Let's not make this video all about traffic. So let's go ahead and dive into the identity of each city. That's a big reason why people gravitate towards a certain location, one over the other. So you might have heard that Austin is often referred to as the live music capital of the world. And that's because of its really vibrant music scene and the eclectic arts and culture that Austin has to offer. Austin is also definitely a hub for creativity and innovation, especially now with our major technology influence and hub that we have in the city. In addition to being the state capital and home to the University of Texas at Austin, Austin also has quite a bit of film and television influence. San Antonio, on the other hand, is very rich in historical and cultural heritage with a very strong influence from Mexican and Spanish cultures. You may have heard of that little landmark called the Alamo. And if you haven't visited the Alamo, I definitely recommend it. Growing up in San Antonio, though, I probably took about 30 field trips to the Alamo over the years, so it may take quite a bit to get me to go back for a tour, but it has been a few decades now, so perhaps I'll reconsider. It's definitely a good time and worthwhile. So all jokes aside, it's a really fun visit and really neat to see the Texas history firsthand. I would highly recommend all of those stops. Guys, welcome to the channel where it's all about living in Austin. My name is Aubrey von Behren, and I'm a licensed real estate broker here in the Austin Metro. I've helped hundreds of people relocate to Austin over the past 10 to 12 years, and I would love to help you do the same. I've actually lived in Austin for over 14 years, and not only do I love the city, but I love sharing with you all of the nuances that the city brings so that you can ultimately make a really good decision about your potential move to the area. If that sounds like something you're interested in, be sure to call, text, or email me. I would love to schedule an appointment with you to learn a little bit more about your move to the area and offer additional guidance. Be sure to hit that like button because it helps people just like you find this information a little more easily. And if you like the content that I'm putting out for you each week, be sure to hit that notification bell and subscribe button so that you're alerted of each of the new videos that I'll be putting out for you weekly. Now, this leads me into the economy and industries in both both Austin and San Antonio. As I mentioned, Austin has a thriving tech industry and is home to many of those companies and definitely startup culture. In addition to long-standing tech companies like Dell and Samsung, Austin is also home to Tesla's headquarters, which is located right near the Austin Bergstrom International Airport. Austin is also known for its higher education institutions, such as the University of Texas, which certainly contributes to research and innovation throughout the entire country. On the note of San Antonio, their economy is quite diverse, including many sectors like healthcare, military, certainly tourism, and energy as well. The city definitely has a very strong military presence, being home to several bases throughout the city of San Antonio. It's also a major tourist destination with popular spots like the San Antonio Riverwalk, Six Flags, and SeaWorld, and I'll tell you a little bit more about those in this video. Let's talk atmosphere and lifestyle in both Austin and San Antonio. Both cities have noticeable lifestyle differences that really encompass the diverse essence of Texas as a whole. Austin, again, recognized as the live music capital of the world, definitely exudes more of an eclectic and progressive atmosphere. The city thrives on innovation with a dynamic tech sector, a plethora of music venues, and a strong inclination to the outdoors. You'll find a ton of outdoor activities that people are participating in all year long. I'd say that overall, Austin residents gravitate more towards a wellness-focused lifestyle. So you'll find things like farmers markets, yoga studios, and a fair amount of locally sourced foodie type restaurants, which are also some of my favorites. We have a really good foodie scene here in Austin, if that's something you're into. San Antonio also has great food, and I'll tell you a little bit more about their lifestyle right now. So San Antonio embraces its rich historical culture and cultural lineage. It draws much inspiration from its Spanish colonial heritage and Texan roots. Again, the Alamo is located in San Antonio, great stop. And the city has more, I'd say, of an unhurried way of life in comparison to Austin. You'll find a lot of action though along the San Antonio River Walk, which is one of their tourist hotspots. And it's also really close to some of the historic landmarks, like I mentioned earlier, the Alamo and the Missions. In San Antonio too, there's really a strong commitment to more of that authentic Tex-Mex style fare, which is, I'm gonna have to say it, so much better than what Austin has to offer. I will say though, Austin still has really good food in a lot of different ways, but San Antonio may take the win when it comes to authentic Tex-Mex. Let's talk a little bit more about education between the two cities. Now, Austin is home to the esteemed University of Texas at Austin, which is known for its pioneering research and innovation throughout the country. The city's academic establishments, I would say, have definitely created an environment that's conducive to a lot of technological breakthroughs, especially in the realms of computer science, engineering, and biotechnology, which is, again, a big hub in the Austin, Texas area. Now, San Antonio is also home to many institutions such as the University of Texas Health Science Center and Texas A&M's University of San Antonio, which also places a significant emphasis on healthcare, life sciences, and research specifically connected to the military. Again, San Antonio has a huge military presence with several bases throughout the city. San Antonio really has a dedication to medical progress for these reasons, combined with its historical links to military medicine, yields in groundbreaking advancements in healthcare and the life sciences. So again, these differences I think are a really good example of how Austin and San Antonio capitalize on each of their unique strengths in incredibly different ways. Although incredibly informative, I might add, some of the things that we've discussed may not be as exciting compared to what to do in a city and the tourist attractions that each city has to offer. So on that note, you might be wondering what to do for fun in each of these cities, both of which experience thousands of tourists each year. Let's start with Austin. Austin definitely entices its visitors with the live music scene. We have big music events every year, Austin City Limits, aka ACL, and South by Southwest. We have our well-known food truck culture all throughout the city. You can find great food in a lot of these food trucks, and our diverse and creative art spaces scattered about the city as well. What's great about Austin, again, being a very outdoorsy lifestyle, is that outdoor enthusiasts can partake in activities like kayaking on Lady Bird Lake and enjoying some of the things around Barton Springs Pool. Again, we have a lot of lakes throughout the city too. Be sure to check out some of my other videos surrounding Lake Travis. That's a nice man-made lake where you can go boating, lots of really nice neighborhoods around there if that's something you might be interested as well. In contrast, San Antonio's historical heritage is definitely showcased through its attractions that I mentioned earlier, some of which would be the Alamo, the Riverwalk, which is located downtown, where you'll find shops and restaurants all throughout, and the Spanish colonial architecture that you'll find at the Missions. Lots of really cool things to do in San Antonio as well. Overall, I'd say that exploring San Antonio lets tourists immerse themselves in the historical components of the city and really enjoying some of those landmarks that I mentioned earlier. Also, again, the really awesome Tex-Mex cuisine. It's really hard to find a bad meal in San Antonio, especially in some of those specific areas. Austin caters to, I'd say, those people and tourists in search of more of an eclectic, creative, or artistic exploration, and more of that urban vibe that you can find all throughout the city. In addition to San Antonio's Riverwalk, you'll also find spots like Six Flags Fiesta Texas and SeaWorld. Six Flags was one of my favorite spots growing up, and even as an adult, I have a great time there. I do wish Austin had more of a theme park atmosphere, but it's a quick trip from Austin to San Antonio if that's something you're into exploring. In Austin, again, you'll have a ton of outdoor spots to explore, as well as our Formula One Circuit of the Americas, which is the only Formula One track in the United States. We host the Formula One Grand Prix every year, a huge event to check out. So again, that's Circuit of the Americas, aka COTA, located in Southeast Austin. Again, Austin is also home to several big music festivals such as Austin City Limits, also known as ACL, as well as South by Southwest. Both of these individually draw in tens of thousands of people to the city every year, and we have huge names performing at these events. So again, there's a rich television, film, and music culture in Austin that you're just not going to find in San Antonio, but you will find plenty of other things that are equally as exciting in San Antonio, just a little bit different. This might be one of my most favorite things, and I actually consider it a hobby of mine when people ask what some of my hobbies are, and that is eating, I guess specifically exploring new restaurants and especially more of the foodie type spots with more of a culinary experience. I love to do that. So on that note, Austin is known for its diverse culinary scene with, of course, a focus on food trucks. You can find really good food in some of these food trucks, which surprises a lot of people, as well as farm to table dining and more of fusion cuisine throughout the city. It's definitely a hub for foodies and offers a wide range of options. One of my favorite spots, and it still stands to this day, is Barley Swine. I would highly recommend doing the chef's tasting menu with the wine pairings if that's something you're into. It's always a little bit different. The service is fantastic, and it's a really nice, relaxed, and casual atmosphere with fantastic food. So again, Barley Swine. Now, San Antonio is definitely famous for its amazing Tex-Mex cuisine. Again, really hard to find a bad meal with Tex-Mex throughout the city. And it's because of the strong emphasis on San Antonio's traditional Mexican culture and flavors. You'll find local markets like the historic Market Square, and it really offers a taste of the city's culinary heritage. Again, it takes the cake compared to Austin when it comes to authentic Tex-Mex in San Antonio. Now, when you're moving to an area, you probably are curious what it looks like and if there's natural beauty that will appeal to you. So in Austin and San Antonio, I would say that they both offer distinct features in terms of national beauty that really capture the essence of their respective surroundings. I'll break that down a little bit more. Austin specifically is nestled in the Texas Hill Country. So this is characterized by rolling landscapes, hills, some of the serene lakes, and more lush green spaces. The city also has close proximity to the Balcones Canyonlands Preserve, which offers some really neat opportunities for hiking and exploring some some of the unique ecosystems in the area. Also in Austin is the really nice Barton Creek Greenbelt that's a haven for a lot of the outdoor enthusiasts that I mentioned earlier in this video. You'll find hiking trails and some of the natural swimming spots as well. I'd say in contrast, San Antonio's natural allure is really centered around the San Antonio Riverwalk, which winds through the city and has sort of charming pathways and gardens throughout, as well as restaurants and a lot of other neat spots that you can frequent. The nearby hill country in San Antonio definitely offers more of that rugged terrain, your really nice scenic drives, and all while being able to capitalize on the historic missions within the San Antonio area as well. There's also the San Antonio Missions National Historical Park, where you'll find really, I'd say, a blend of cultural and natural beauty, if you will. And again, depending on the exact location where you are in both San Antonio and Austin, you actually will find that hill country charm that both cities offer, because again, depending on the exact location, you are in the Texas hill country in both Austin and San Antonio. Now, cost of living in a particular location is incredibly important when you're considering a move to an area. And this is where I'm seeing a lot of change in the greater Austin vicinity. A lot of the clients that I've worked with, some of my past clients and friends, are choosing to move to the suburbs of Austin, maybe somewhere south between Austin and San Antonio, where it's a slightly better cost of living because of the rising costs in the greater Austin metro. And I'll break these down a little bit more in comparison to San Antonio specifically. Overall, San Antonio typically maintains a lower cost of living when compared to Austin. Housing expenses encompassing both rental rates and actual home sales prices generally have been more economical in San Antonio versus Austin. Even everyday costs like your groceries, dining, transportation, all those day-to-day necessities come with a more wallet-friendly price in San Antonio as well. That seems to have always been the case. Even when I grew up in San Antonio, Austin always seemed to be a little bit more expensive than San Antonio. And that's definitely been the case with the growth in Austin over the last decade or more. While both cities definitely offer their own unique attractions and prospects, the variation in the cost of living between the two cities certainly plays a pivotal role in, I'd say, shaping the financial choices and lifestyles of residents in each city. Because of Austin's higher cost of living, again, many of my clients are choosing to purchase homes that are more so between Austin and San Antonio, so that Buda-Kyle area on the map, somewhere right in between the two cities, so that they can be close to both cities, but really reap the benefits of lower costs. And on that note, you'll find that in all of the suburbs, for the most part, surrounding greater Austin, there are some nuances there. As you go out west, it tends to be a little bit more expensive. So be sure to reach out to me if you're exploring some of these areas in and around Austin. I would love to be a resource for you and highlight some of the spots that may be the right fit for you in terms of lifestyle, cost of living, and all of the things that are equally as important. Now, urban development is another topic that is incredibly important when considering an area and whether or not it's right for you. Austin is driven by a thriving tech industry, and its identity is definitely a creative hub. Because of this, we've seen a surge in so many real estate ventures and definitely urbanization of Austin, and that has led to increased density in the city. You'll find condos and a lot of contemporary skyscrapers that weren't there even just a few years ago. So it's really interesting to see how that city skyline has changed in such a short period of time. Even a lot of our newer neighborhoods seem to blend modern architectural styles with more of our historical sites. So Austin tries to maintain that historical atmosphere that we've had in the past with a lot of the new urbanization that's been happening in all of the Austin metro, for that matter. With that being said, though, these advancements have definitely introduced challenges such as our increased traffic congestion and concerns over housing affordability. And that kind of brings me back to one of my earlier points in this video, is that there's so much more density in Austin. We have a fairly similar population to San Antonio. We're not that much smaller in the grand scheme of things, but our land mass is substantially smaller than San Antonio's, much more spread out space and land mass. So that again creates additional traffic congestion and issues with housing affordability because there's not as much land available in some of these prime locations within the Austin metro. On the other hand, San Antonio's urban development is characterized by more of a, I'd say, coexistence between its rich past and present expansion efforts. San Antonio has done a really good job, I think, of preserving some of its cultural treasures with its historical lineage and spots like the Riverwalk and the historic missions as well. This has definitely created, I'd say, a neat balance between kind of traditional and modern. San Antonio has some really neat spots down by the Riverwalk where they've repurposed the old Pearl Brewery. Now it's called the Pearl, where you'll find farmers markets, really nice culinary hotspots, Hotel Emma, and some of these neat spots that were not in San Antonio just several years ago. So kudos to San Antonio for having some of these cool, neat spots where they've tied in some of the historic culture as well. In summary, Austin and San Antonio really offer completely unique experiences and cater to entirely different lifestyles. So like I said earlier, there's no bad choice. It's really just which is better for you. Austin, again, is known for its tech-driven innovation, music culture, and depending on how you look at it and where you are exactly, progressive values, you could say. San Antonio definitely embraces its rich history, cultural diversity, and that type of atmosphere, which is also fantastic. So each city, again, contributes to kind of the vibrant tapestry of Texas, if you will. You can't go wrong in either spot. Again, it's all about what you're looking for. Guys, just as a reminder, my name is Aubrey von Behren. I'm a licensed real estate broker here in Austin, and I would absolutely love to be a resource for you in your potential move to the Austin area. So be sure to call, text, or email. I would love to be a resource for you along the way.